Welcome to MacroCode. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we are going to create a simple ASP.NET Core Web API, and we are going to do from scratch until deployment. So we are using Visual Studio 2026, and for those who are new to this channel, subscribe and let's begin this particular episode. So we're going to create a simple API where we are going to use .NET 10. I'll just create a new project. So you can see here I'm using Visual Studio 2026. So we'll create a new project. Then here we're going to use ASP.NET Core Web API. So this is a template. So this is a project template for creating a RESTful web APIs using ASP.NET controllers or minimal APIs. So I'll choose this. Then I'll choose the location of my project. So there we have the location of my project. And here I'll just call this employees management API. So you can see here, I can place the solution and project in the same directory, and this will be my solution name. So if I click next, then it will give me the frameworks. So you can see I have .NET 7, which is actually out of support. I also have .NET 8, which is also a long-term support. Then you have .NET 9, and you also have .NET 10. So for this particular video, we are going to create a simple ASP.NET Core Web API using a .NET 10. So if you want to do that, so you can install. So this is currently available, so you can install .NET 10, also Visual Studio 2026. And authentication type, I'll just leave it to none. Then here I'll enable OpenAPI support, and also I'll use controllers. Then if I click create, so this will create my project, and I can be able to run and be able to see some endpoints that are already there. So if you check, this is my project, it has created, and here we have our weather forecast. So here we have our weather forecast model. We have the date, temperature, and also summary. We have my program.cs, and we have app settings. So here we are going to put all our settings and even connection to the database. Then we have our weather forecast controller. And if we try to launch this particular app, then we should be able to get certain endpoints that are there. But remember here, when you check on our program.cs, we are actually using Open API. So I'll just launch this on my browser. So let's just check. So we want to see how it is running. If you check on the launch settings, you'll know the port. So this is the port. You can see here we have the port. So I'll just have that here. And so currently, if you do that, this is not visible because it's actually using Open API. So you can actually access the JSON file. So we can customize the way you want to see the JSON. So I'll just go to our app set, that is program.cs. Then here, I'll try to add, so here I'll do app.open map open API. So you can put the root. I'll just say open API, then v1, then open API and JSON. I'll just do JSON. Then I can do that. So if I just copy this now, so let's relaunch. I'll just relaunch this. So if I just relaunch this and try to paste that particular so here. So if I just come here and do this, so you can see we should be able to access our JSON. So, and you can see we have our title. So this is the Employee Management API. This is version 1. And you also have our URL. We have our weather forecast, and we have some of the endpoints that we have here. So this is one way of how you can access our API. But most of you guys are actually used to Swagger. So you can also do that. So we can add Swagger to our API. But before we do that, I want us to create a model. So I'll just go here and create a folder. We call these models. Then we can add our model here called employee. So then I'll zoom this. So employee here will have our public int ID. Then we can have first name, last name, email. So here we can do position, can do city, can also do region. Let's just do that. Postal code, can also do country, phone. That's okay. So we have some of these fields. So these are some of the fields that we have, but you can create more in case you need. Then we can add our application DbContext. So here I'll just create, we'll call this database mapping. So then here I'll just call this, I'll create a class called application DbContext. So this is one of the things that we've done. But before that, let's try to add some NuGet packages. So I'll just go to manage NuGet package. Then here we can do EFCO. So we are going to connect to our database using EFCO. Then we have, so this is Microsoft Entity Framework Core. So we have, we are doing with the .NET 10. So I'll just install .NET 10, then apply. Then you also have SQL. So we are going to connect this to our SQL Server. Then there we go. So if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and also like the video. So we'll just install that. Then we also have, let's do tools. There, we'll just do tools. This will help us with the migrations. Then we also have, so we can do even Swagger. So here we'll do Swash, Baco. We have this, so I'll just install Swagger.net. Then I'll also install UI and SwaggerGen. So I'll do that. Do this. And I'll also do SwaggerGen. So since we have that, you can see your NuGet packages on our dependencies, then packages. So you'll see all of them here. And you can see they are all version 10. So this is one of the things that we need to do. So one thing that we need to also do is to now map our to our API to use Swagger. So how do we do that? So I want us to go to our application here. Then I want us to add, so we need to add our Swagger. So here, we'll just come, instead of Open API, we can change this to add Swaggergen. So that's one of them. So I'll just remove this. Then here we can do use Swagger, and you can also do use Swagger UI. Then we can also have here, instead of this, we can also have it here. So those two. So if we do that and try to launch our app, so let's just try to launch our API. We should see now our application launching with Swagger. So if we do that and do here /Swagger, so you can see we now have our app with Swagger. So here we have our weather, employees management API, and we have our weather forecast. So I don't know how you guys think, but I usually find Swagger a bit more, the UI a bit more cool than any other interface. So I usually find it better using this one in most of my APIs. And also, if you want to access the JSON, you can be able to access the same JSON like this. So I think that's cool. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to now create our application DbContext. So remember, we have created our application DbContext class. we've added our NuGet packages. So the next thing is we need to now create this. So the next thing here, we need to just do DbContext, and this will import entity framework core. Then here we need our DbContext option, and you can see we have our suggestions. We have all these suggestions here. Then we can have our employee model now. So here you can see it is even suggesting for us. So I'll just remove that, and we can import this. I'll just import the models, and we have our employee model there. So you can see we have employees, and we have our, this is how our database will look, employees. Then the next thing that we need to do is to create this to our, link this to our database. So we need to add our configuration. So I'll just do configuration settings. And here we need to connect this to our database. So we'll just, the first thing that we need to do here is, I'll just do here, enter, then default connection. So it has given us suggestions. So the server name, you can get the server name just from here. So this is my server name. Then I'll proceed and paste this here. Then the database, you can create the database. So here you can say API, we can call employees API. So that is our database name. And we can copy this name and have it here. So I'll just have the name here. Then we'll have trusted connection, multiple active result sets. Then you can also have trust server certificate. So I'll just do trust server certificate. So trust server certificate, I can set this to true. So that's okay. So the next thing that we need to do is we've done this. So we need to map this on our program.cs. So how do we do that? So we need to add our application DbContext. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to come here and do builder.services. Actually, we can have this explorer. That's okay. You can also have builder. I'll just do builder.services add DbContext. Then I can just do application DbContext, this one, and you can see it is even giving us our connections. So this is application DbContext option, use SQL Server, and I can say connection is here. So we need to import SQL Server entity framework core. Then this default connection, it will get it from our app settings, this one. Then we have this connection will be okay. So after we've done this, the next thing that we need to do is to actually create a migration. So I'll just go to tools, NuGet package manager console. You'll get a window like this. Then you can do add migration. Then you can say employees. So this is the migration names. Press enter. So our migration files should be generated if everything is okay. If there's an error, then we'll be able to get an error. There we go. So all went well. So you can see we have our migration file here. And if you are keen, you'll notice there's a folder that has been created called migrations. And you can see we have two files. We have our migration file now. Here, this is actually SQL commands. You can see create table, employee, ID, first name, last. So all these are our fields. And you also have the constraint, that is our primary key. And in case there is a table that exists, it will try to drop it first. So to apply these changes to the database, we need to do apply. Yeah, we need to do update database. We'll do update database. Sorry. So this is a bit, the statements are a bit sensitive, so you need to be keen when typing. Update database. So database. So it will now update these changes to our database that we created. So you can see all these commands. So it is doing create table, employees, ID, first name. So this is actually a SQL statement that you can execute it. So if you go to the database, you will get two tables. EF migrations history that tracks the migrations that we've done. So, and we'll see the name of our migration. Here we go, the product version, and we have our table that is employees with all the fields that we've just created. So that's one way. So I think up to there we are cool. So what I want us to do, I want us to remove the controller that we added. That is the weather forecast controller. Then we can add another controller, and we are going to scaffold. So I'll just add new scaffolded item. Then here we are going to do entity API controller with action using entity framework core, a simplest way to actually create migration APIs. So I'll just choose my model, that is the employees, database context, that is our application DbContext, and it will give you the employees controller. Then you can add. So this will actually do the work for you. It will generate all the endpoints for an employee. That is the CRUD, creating an employee, reading, updating, and deleting. So that will be able to give us a complete employee API so that we're able to see how we are going to enhance it. So let's just wait and see. So for those who are watching this particular video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, you notice 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you haven't subscribed. So if you're one of them, please consider subscribing and like the video. So if you can see here, we have scaffolding. It's almost done, and it is trying to add some NuGet packages that we had not added. And in like a few minutes, then we'll be having our API. And there we go. So you can see we have our API. We have the employees controller. We have now all the endpoints here. So I haven't done anything. So if I try to launch this particular API, you'll notice something. We'll be having new endpoints. So you can see we have the employees. We have this is get, post for creating, getting an employee by an ID, put for updating an employee by an ID, and deleting an employee by an ID. So if we go to our employees, you'll get that we have this particular get employee. So this particular endpoint get all the list of employees you can see from here. So this is one way of actually creating the endpoints. So you can see we have the update ID. So we can try to do one thing. So we can try to add an employee here. So you can say post. Here I'll just say James Mwangi James at Gmail. Then here you can say ICT Nairobi. Here is Nairobi. So if you are in Nairobi, actually like the video and tell me where you are watching it from. So 3200. Then this is Kenya. This is 07. I'll just put in some characters there. So if I execute, it will give us the results. So you can see it has inserted the data to the database and it has given us the response. I'll try to, let me try to execute so that we get a lot of data. So I'm doing, so those are duplicates, but you can try to put in more. So you can see these are some of the records that we have on our database. And all these guys exist in our database. So if we want to retrieve them, we can get it from these endpoints. So I'll just try and execute, and you can see I have the results. So this is the results of my API, and you also have another one for get. So if you want to get a specific record from here, for example, number 28. I'll just pass 28, that is the primary key, and it will get me that particular record. So you can see, if I want to delete or update, I can try to update, let's say number 28. So I'll just try 28. I'll say I want this guy, this is ID 28. I want this guy to be called Aaron. Then this is Njue. I'll say here Njue at gmail.com. Then I can say this is dev Nairobi. This is Nairobi. So this is Nairobi. Can do some codes. This is Kenya, and I can say, can put it some characters. So if I execute, so we are expecting to get our employee updated. So if you get to our last record, you'll see this guy is known as Aaron Jue at Gmail dev, and the number has also been updated. So that's one way. And we can try to remove that guy. So if we try here to pass the ID as 1 and execute, then you'll realize that we don't have that particular guy. So if I do that, what did we do here? We passed ID 1. So if we do 28, we should get out that guy. So if we try to search, you see ID is now 27. So that's one way of how you can test the API. But also, there's other ways on how you can test your API using Postman. So I'm going to show you guys how you can do that. So I'll just sign out. So I'll just go here and I'll create a new collection. So here, if I try to come to our API, you see here, I'll just go to our endpoint. So these are endpoints. So the complete URL is this one. So I'll just go here and do get, and you can see here the headers, we don't have any authorization, but in case there is an authorization that you wanted your API is using, for example, a bearer token, we'll just click bearer token and you paste the token here. But here, because these are get, we have different methods here. So we have the get, post, put, patch, delete, head, and options. So these are get methods. So if I try to execute this one, it will give me the results. So it is telling me, so let me just disable that. So you can see, if I try to execute, it is giving me the results. So this is the results of our API. So in case I want to, so I'll just, in case I want to do an update, a post, I'll also go back here. So this is my post. So I'll just copy the body, and I'll now go to body, then row, then here I'll do JSON, then here I'll paste this. Then our endpoint will be this one. It will be API employees. I think it's the same, but now we need to change this. Instead of get, we do post. And here I'll say this is macro code. Then I'll say here macro. This is senior dev. Then I'll put in some numbers. Then if I execute this, it will return the result. So you can see it has executed and given us the macro code. So if we go to database again, we'll be able to get the same results. So you see, we have macro code, macro at Gmail, senior dev, and we have that. So that is how you can test your API using a Postman. So we've been able to do that. So the next thing that we need to do is, assuming we want to deploy this API to our server or even to IIS, how do we do that? So you'll just come to here, right click on it, do publish. Then you can publish this, because we are publishing this to IIS. You can do it. So there are different ways on how you want to publish, either to Azure, Docker container registry, folder, web server IIS, or import file. So you can publish this directly to IIS or even to a folder, then you copy that. So I'll just publish it to a folder. So I'll just choose my folder. So this is my folder. Then I click finish. So once you click that, you'll get a profile. So this is the profile. So I want to ensure whenever I publish, I want to always deleting the files that are there. So I'll just edit this. And here, I'll just come to database, file options, file publish options, and click delete all existing files prior to publishing. Then you can always either use the server connection. So you can see this is our database connection. You can use this connection string at runtime or even when you are trying to apply migrations. So you can also deploy these, you can target portable Windows 32 and even 64 bits. So I'll just do here, let's do portable. Then here you can see target framework is .NET 10 and also release. So if I save this, you'll see this has changed to true, and then I'll just click publish. So it will publish my files to the folder. You can see it has published all my files to the folder, and you can see everything is okay. So in case there is an error, it won't be able to publish. So if I click on this particular folder, I'll get all my files. So you can see these are all the files that has been published. So to deploy these particular files, you can actually copy all these files. So you can actually zip it and now deploy it to the server or even to the IIS. So how do you do that? So let's just go to our IIS. So let me just see if I have my IIS here. So I'll just open IIS. So if you go to IIS, so you can just search IIS. Let me just move this so that you're able to see it. So this is my IIS. So I'll just come here, and under site, I'll create my new site. I'll call it employees API. Then I locate the folder. I'll go to inetpub www-root, and I can make a folder here called employee API. So if I just click on that, let me just go back. I need to have it on my folder. So just go to www, then employees API. Then here you can see I'll just do year 79, 8079, and I can click OK. So you'll see this is the folder that I have. So if I explore, I'll be looking, you can see it will take me to the directory that my IIS is. So I'll now copy all the files that were there on my, where we are deployed, and now paste it here. So I've just copied all the files. So if I just paste here, so continue, you can see this is, so it has pasted all the files that we had on our previous deployment. So that is from where we are deployed from here. So, and now paste it to where our folder is. So if we go back, so this is where we have our API. So the next thing is you've actually successfully deployed your API to IIS. So if we click on browse, you'll see this is telling us the page cannot be accessed, configuration, something. So let's try to see if we can do Swagger. So you can see it's not being accessed. So how do you address this? So the first thing that we need to do is to install the web hosting bundles. So how do you do that? So let's go to sp.net core web. I'll just do, so we'll just search here hosting bundle, then this is .NET 10. So if we look for it, go to here, or even install the hosting bundle, then you can look for .NET 10. So, but it's easier to look for .NET 10. Then here you can see sp.net core runtime. And this sp.net core runtime enables you to run existing application on Windows. We recommend installing those things, which includes that. So if you come here, we'll just do, where is it? So you see, hosting bundle includes the .NET runtime and IIS support. I'll just come here and navigate to download, and I'll click on here. Where is our hosting bundle? So let me just click on these runtime components. So let me just click here. So these will download. So I wanted to install, yeah, we have it here. This is hosting bundle. So if we click hosting bundle, that will install all the, so you can even run this. Let me just install that. So these are some of the things that you should install before to enable your application to run successfully on IIS. So one of them is the .NET hosting bundle. So I'll just install that and we should be good to go. So let's just wait and see. So if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, comment down below. We noticed 90% of you guys are watching our videos and you haven't subscribed. And in case you want to get the source code, you will also provide the source code down below. So you can also buy us coffee in case you feel this video was interesting and also added value to your learning curve. So let's just proceed here and try to install the .NET hosting bundle. Then we should be able to launch our API without any problems. So in about 6 seconds, this should be done and we should be able to install it. So I'll just click here. Then we should install that. And these will be okay. So you can see there that is done. Any other thing? I don't think we have we have anything else. So if we try to now refresh our app and click launch, let's see how it will work. So you can see now it is telling us this cannot be found. The error has changed from this. So if we refresh this here, you see the error has changed. That means our API actually is okay. So if we try to do Swagger, so you can see this is now running from our IIS. So you can see the port is 8079. And if you come here and do binding, this is 8079. So that is a simple way on how you can host your API on Swagger. So I'm going to leave it there for today. In case you like the video and you learned a lot, subscribe and see you in our next episode. Bye.